Good day, everyone, especially to our lovely instructor, Dr. Annie Hakalan. We are the Group 2 with our group members, Miss Faelden, Miss Ibarat, Miss Hamlan, Sir Ilnasin, Miss Hamodyong, Miss Igloria, and yours truly, Miss Estoque. We are going to show you our presentation on how biodiversity preserve ecological systems and functions. Let's have first our quick review about biodiversity. Biodiversity. The term biodiversity is from biological diversity, refers to the variety of life on Earth at all its levels. It is a measure of variation at the genetic, species, and ecosystem level. Biodiversity is all the different kinds of life you'll find in one area. The variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our natural world. Each of these species and organisms work together in ecosystems like an intricate web to maintain balance and support life.
So, what is genetic biodiversity? Genetic biodiversity is a biological variation that occurs within a species. The examples are different breeds of dogs, variation of rose flowers, wet rice, and mangoes. So those are genetic biodiversity. Species biodiversity. It can be used more specifically to refer to all the species in one region or ecosystem. The examples are plants, bacteria, animals, and humans. And that is species biodiversity.
Today, I'm tackling about the ecological biodiversity. It is the diversity of ecosystem, natural communities, and habitats. In essence, it is the variety of ways that the species interact with each other and their environment. It is also species of number of niches, trophic levels, and ecological processes that capture, sustain food webs, and recycle materials within the system. An example of this is the ecological biodiversity on a global scale, would be the variation in ecosystems such as the deserts, the forests, the grassland, the wetlands, and the ocean. So ecological diversity is the largest scale of biodiversity, and within each ecosystem, there's a great deal of both species and genetic diversity.
Okay, let us now proceed to genetic biodiversity. How genetic biodiversity preserve the ecological system. So, genetic biodiversity is the biological variations that occurs within species. It makes it possible for species to adapt when the environment changes. So, genetic diversity is particularly important under the rapid environmental changes. It helps preserve the ecological system as it strengthens the ability of species and populations to resist diseases, pests, changes in climates, and other stresses. Genes variation underpin their capacity to evolve and their flexibility to adapt. So it helps in adapting to changes, which keeps the ecology survive and withstand all generational changes, thus preserving the ecological balance in the system. So the functions of genetic biodiversity is that it allows populations to adapt to environmental changes through the survival and reproductions of individuals with a population that have particular genetic characteristics that enable them to withstand these changes.
Next is species biodiversity. As you can see, this could preserve the ecological system and functions by one of those examples of a species is as humans. As a human, we have to initiate and do our responsibilities to preserve the ecosystems or the earth where we live. We should know how to reduce, reuse, and recycle our trash to prevent pollution, flash flood, and others that could have bad effects to our nature. We should conserve water and plant trees. It provides food and oxygen. It could also help save energy, clean the air, and help combat climate change. Leaves pull in carbon dioxide and may produce and releases oxygen. Animals help maintain the Earth's natural environments by predating upon plants and other animals, pollinating various plants and exhaling carbon dioxide, which green plants require to live. Additionally, animals help to fertilize plants via their droppings, which provide nutrition for plants.
Now let's proceed to the ecological biodiversity. Ecological biodiversity includes rainforest, mangrove, estuary, and coral reefs. This ecological biodiversity preserves the ecosystem by providing ecosystem services such as supply oxygen. Through photosynthesis, plants use carbon dioxide, sunlight, and water to create energy and release oxygen. In turn, plants and animals breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Next, clean air and water. Trees and other vegetation absorb pollutants such as excessive nitrogen dioxide, ozone, and particulate matter through their leaves and needles, and thereby help to improve air quality. And also, biodiversity improves water quality and helps ecosystem to withstand pressure from pollution. Next, pollination of plants. Insects and wind pollinates plants and trees, which is essential for the development of fruits, vegetables, and seeds. Next, pest control. By increasing biodiversity and creating habitat for natural enemies, land managers can boast natural pest control services and reduce reliance on pesticides. Hence, all species and parts of this ecosystem benefits, and importantly, its for existence.
We all know that biodiversity plays a very important role in our lives and other people over the world. And then it's serving as source of food, medicines, and any other materials that needed to sustain human life. As what mentioned a while ago, that biodiversity consists of three kinds of, such as genetic biodiversity, species biodiversity, and ecological biodiversity. So, the significant such factors would help to preserve the ecological system and functions. First and foremost, in the term of genetic biodiversity, that tells us we as human being have an ability to reproduce, to create another organism. So, we having a different genes. So hence, it to preserve in our existence. Second is in term of species, such as human, animals, plants, and microorganisms. We as human being having a capability to preserve the way of proper care and other species and having a sustainable environment, such as tree planting, waste segregation, and be an eco-friendly. So animals and plants serve as food, shelter, medicines, and etc. Also, the microorganism having a vital role the way to contribute digestions, promote development of the immune system, and use fertile soil. So lastly, in terms of ecological biodiversity, which is the natural resources such as trees, water, mineral resources, and all species in this ecosystem needs to help for existence and survival, having a sustainable well-being. And that's all be. Thank you.